Glasses clinked when my brother-in-law, Tyler, wrapped up his toast. To Jake and Lauren, he said, arm high like a referee signaling a win. 20 years and still going strong. Under the crystal chandeliers at Louvren, the light turned everyone warm and gold. Family smiled. The room felt soft and expensive. I smiled on cue and took a sip. The champagne tasted like plain bubbles. 20 years. 2 full decades of a life we built step by step. A brownstone in Brooklyn, a small investment shop that we grew from a cramped room to a respected boutique, and our daughter, Sophie, now a first year at Columbia University. Everything looked perfect from the outside, like a staged display behind glass. The thing about displays is that nobody touches them. I looked across the table at my wife. Lauren is 45 and still stops conversations. Black dress that fits like it was cut for her. Blonde hair on her shoulders. The small diamond set I gave her for our 10th anniversary at her ears and neck, catching light each time she turned. She laughed at something my sister, Erin, said, then glanced at the phone beside her plate. 3rd time in 20 minutes. Our eyes met. She gave me the smile that used to hit me like a clean cord. Now it dropped like a stone in my gut. Dad, are you okay? Sophie leaned in. Her eyebrows pinched. You look a million miles away. I squeezed her hand. I'm just taking it in, kiddo. 20 years does not come around every day. She brightened. Looks like her mother. Temper more like mine. Thank God. It is pretty amazing, she said. You two make me think marriage can work. Half my friends do not believe that. If only she knew how close we were to the edge. A waiter drifted to my elbow. More wine, sir. I nodded and let the room noise roll over me. I told myself to keep the night steady. Play my role. Keep it clean. Lauren laughed a little too loud for the room. Paige lifted one eyebrow. She is quick. Always has been. Lauren flipped her phone face down. So, Jake, Richard said, leaning across. I heard the Henderson account finally landed. Patience served you well. I was glad to switch lanes. I talked shop. Market swings, allocation, risk buckets. I wore the mask I know too well. Steady partner, solid husband, present father. Nobody at that table would guess that under the calm I was counting, timing, and planning. Henderson was a serious win. 3 years of slow work with that tech mogul, and now a big slice of his portfolio sits with us. Before, Lauren and I would have toasted that in private after the office champagne. This time she only nodded when I told her. Her head was somewhere else. Excuse me, she said, picking up her purse and phone. Ladies' room. Paige, come with me. Paige went. The moment they turned the corner, Lauren's head dipped toward her phone. She is planning something special for you, son, Diane said with a wink, like we shared a secret. She has been so hush-hush. I gave a tight smile. Lauren is full of surprises. She had no idea how true that was. Hotel receipts on days she swore she had yoga. Weekend conferences that never showed up on any industry calendar. 2 weeks back, I found a burner phone in the side pocket of her gym bag. Dad, can I try the champagne? Sophie whispered. Just a small sip, I said, sliding the glass. Do not tell your mother. She tasted it and made a face. People like this? It grows on you, I said, and for a second I felt clean and light. Whatever happens between Lauren and me, I will shield Sophie with everything I have. Lauren and Paige came back. A little color in Lauren's cheeks. She sat, picked up her wine, and took a long pull. Everything okay? I asked, easy as a Sunday. Perfect, she said, eyes on the table. Paige was telling me about work on their vacation place. Paige blinked, surprised, then nodded. Yes, Mike finally agreed to fix that old kitchen. Plates arrived and disappeared. Glasses were topped off. The night moved forward like a train on schedule. To anyone watching, we looked like a model family hitting a milestone. My in-laws told stories from our wedding day, a little loose with the wine. My brother tossed in a couple from my bachelor party. People laughed in the right spots. I kept my grip and kept an eye on Lauren. Tiny tremor in her hand each time the phone buzzed. Laugh a little too bright. Food untouched on her plate, which is not like her. Dessert arrived. Custom cake for the big number. Inside my head, the count sat at 14 quick checks of her phone and 2 bathroom trips that ran long. Richard stood again, face warm with the wine and the moment. He raised his glass. A toast. To my beautiful daughter, and to the man who has kept her happy for 20 years. When you asked for her hand, Jake, I knew you would take care of her for life. I lifted my glass and held my smile. Inside, I kept counting. I lifted my glass and met Lauren's eyes. To taking care of each other, I said, steady and calm. In the ways that actually count. Something moved across her face, gone in a blink. She raised her glass. To 20 years, she said, barely above a whisper. As we drank, her phone lit. I saw the message before she flipped it over. Tonight. Same place. 11 o'clock. She shot me a quick glance. I gave her nothing. I turned to Sophie and asked about midterms like that was all that lived in my head. Inside, the last string of doubt cut clean. Only the hard truth stayed. When the bill came, I covered it, no matter Richard's half-drunk protest. Outside there were hugs, and let us do this again soon. Sophie had an early class, so I called her a ride. I am proud of you too, she said, squeezing us both. 20 years is forever now. I held her a second longer and breathed in the same shampoo she has used since grade school. We love you, kiddo. Call me tomorrow. I will, Dad. She kissed my cheek, then Lauren's, and slid into the car. As the taillights turned the corner, Lauren gave me a smile that never reached her eyes. That was lovely, she said. Everyone seemed happy. Yes, I said, raising a hand for our car. A perfect evening. We rode home in the kind of quiet that weighs on your chest. Not the easy kind two people earn over time. The other kind, the kind stuffed with all the words no one says. Inside the brownstone, Lauren slipped off her heels and started up the stairs. I am wiped out, she said. I think I will turn in early. It is only 9:30, I said, loosening my tie. It has been a long day. A lot of people. Of course, I said. I may stay up and look over a few work files. Relief flashed across her face. Do not stay up too late. She came down 2 steps and kissed my cheek. I caught the soft trail of Chanel No. 5. Happy anniversary, Jake. Happy anniversary, Lauren. I watched her climb, back straight like a dancer on a mark. She had trained for years before we met. She left the stage for our firm and our family, but the posture never left. I fell for that grace, and for a laugh that used to be honest. When the bedroom door clicked shut, I poured 2 fingers of whiskey and sat in the dark. Moonlight slid through tall windows and stretched across the frames on the wall. Our wedding day, Sophie's first morning on this earth, summers at the beach, winter roads. A neat row of a life that felt like it belonged to someone else. I checked my watch every few minutes and let the whiskey sit on my tongue. At 10:40, the upstairs door gave a small, familiar creak. I know every sound this house makes. Light steps came down the stairs. I stayed in the corner. She took her coat from the closet, checked the mirror by the door, and slipped out. The latch caught. I moved to the window. She walked fast, no trace of being tired. A black Audi rolled to the corner. She got in. It pulled away. I finished the whiskey in one swallow and picked up my phone. I opened a contact I had not used in years and typed. It is happening. I need your help. The answer landed almost right away. I am in. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Same place as before. I set the phone down and went to the guest room. I had not shared a bed with Lauren for 3 weeks. I blamed insomnia. I said I did not want to wake her. She never argued. That told me enough. In the dark, I traced the slow slide that brought us here. The new clothes. The sudden fitness streak that had her out at odd hours. Business trips that did not match any calendar. All the old warning signs I should have caught sooner. The anger had burned out months ago. What was left was cold and sharp. Lauren picked her road. I would walk mine. Morning came gray and flat. I put on jeans and a clean shirt instead of a suit. She was still asleep, or pretending, when I left. I knew she came home at 2:17 in the morning. I heard the key, the soft close, the careful climb. I drove to a diner in Queens I had not seen in years. Vinyl booths. 4 top tables. Bacon and coffee in the air. A place that asks nothing of you but cash and patience. He was already in the back booth with a cup in front of him. Ray Collins had not changed much. Built like a cinder block. Close-cut hair. Eyes that catch everything and give nothing back. He stood when I reached him, and we hugged once. Jake, he said. Too long. Thanks for coming, Ray. We sat. The waitress arrived like she had been waiting off stage. I ordered eggs and coffee I did not need. When she walked away, Ray said, Your message was short, but I can guess. Your wife. I wrapped both hands around the chipped mug and nodded. 20 years, and here we are. He did not offer comfort. He did not ask if I was sure. That is not who he is. What do you need? He asked. Information, I said. Who the man is. How long it has been going on. Where they meet. I want everything. You are lining something up, Ray said. It was not a question. I am protecting myself and my daughter, I said. Lauren has her fingers on too much of our money and knows half our industry. If this blows up, and it will, I need leverage. Ray nodded. Smart. You were always the planner. He pulled a small notebook and clicked a pen. Walk me through what you have. I laid it out. The odd patterns. Dates and times that did not add up. Hotel receipts. The burner phone from her gym bag. Last night's text. The black Audi. Plate number. Only a partial, I said. But it is something. It is enough, he said. This is my lane now. Private work. Mostly corporate, but the rules match. He scribbled. Timeline. As fast as we can get proof, I said. Sooner is better. Got it. He tore out a sheet and slid it to me. This is my secure line. Call from a phone she cannot touch. No text messages. No email. I pocketed the note. What do I owe you? He waved it away. You pulled me out of a tight corner in Fallujah. Call it square. Non-negotiable, I said. His face eased. Whatever this is, you deserve the truth. And if she is playing you, you deserve to land steady. Thank you, I said. We finished our plates without tasting them and let the talk drift to calmer ground. His 2 boys in high school, Sophie settling into her first year, a couple of names from our army days. It felt good to sit with someone who knew me before all this, who had seen both my worst and my best. At the door, Ray set a hand on my shoulder. Keep your head, Jake. Desperate people make bad moves. I can handle Lauren, I said. It is not only her, he said. You have that look. What look? The one you had before we went into that building in Ramadi. Like you are ready to light the whole block. Remember, your daughter needs you in one piece. I know, I said. This is not revenge. This is survival. He nodded, not fully sold. I will check in a few days. Sooner if something breaks. Driving back to Brooklyn, I turned his words over. Was I obsessed? Maybe. But this was not jealousy. This was about guarding 20 years of work, protecting Sophie's future, and refusing to be made a fool by the person who should have had my back. Lauren sat at the kitchen island when I came in, laptop open, coffee steaming. She looked up with a smooth smile. Early meeting? She asked. Breakfast with an old friend, I said, topping off my mug. Ray Collins is in town. A small line cut between her eyebrows. From the army? I did not know you still talked. Not much, I said. He reached out last week. After the anniversary dinner, today seemed like a good time. She nodded and turned the screen my way. A glossy travel site filled with white sand and teal water. Overwater bungalows like postcards. I was thinking we should take a trip, she said. Late anniversary. Bali, maybe the Maldives. Just the 2 of us. I studied her face more than the pictures. Did she really believe a beach could patch what was broken, or did she want me far from distractions while she kept the lie straight? It looks nice, I said even. Let me check my calendar for the next few months. Great, she said, hitting her mark like a pro. 2 weeks. We earned it after 20 years. We will get what is coming to us, I said. The double edge slid past her. I need to swing by the office, I added. Henderson paperwork to button up. She frowned a little. On a Saturday? The market does not care about weekends. I will be back for dinner. I did not drive to the office. I went across the river to a plain strip mall in New Jersey and stepped into a cramped electronics shop. The owner, an old client who handles problems that live in gray zones, looked up. This is serious equipment, he said after I told him my list. Compact cameras with motion triggers. Audio recorders. Software to watch the home network. Everything all right, Mr. Miller? Upgrading home security, I said smoothly. You cannot be too careful. He did not buy it, but he did not press. These push to a secure cloud. Only the password holder can see the feed. They are small. Unless someone is looking, they will never notice. I spent the afternoon wiring the house while Lauren was at yoga. A camera in the living room. One for the hallway. One in the home office. Audio where whispers collect. Quiet monitoring on her laptop that forwards mail and messages to a clean account I set up. I was not only trying to catch a scene. I wanted the whole picture. If she planned to walk, was she planning to strip me on the way out? Our firm, our savings, the house. If this had been cooking for months, everything we built could be exposed. While I worked, I took stock. When did the turn happen? Did she ever love me? Or did I miss who she really was? 20 years under one roof. And here I was, blindsided. She came home late afternoon, cheeks pink, hair damp like she had showered at the gym. She dropped her bag and paused. "I thought you were at the office," she said. "Wrapped up earlier than I expected," I said, sitting with a finance journal open, the picture of a calm husband. "How was yoga?" "Good. Hard," Lauren said, running a hand through her hair. "I am finally getting the headstand." "Nice," I said, turning a page. "You have been putting in the time." "It cuts the stress," she said, "and it keeps me in shape." "You look great," I said, meeting her eyes. "Whatever you are doing is working." "Thank you." She smiled. "I am going to shower again and change. Dinner out, or should we order?" "Let us order. I am still full of last night's restaurant air." "Thai." "Sure." She started up the stairs. Her phone chimed. Her pace quickened. The rest of the night drifted along on quiet rails. Takeout on the couch. A movie I could not retell if you paid me. Small talk about Sophie, the office, and the weather. Two actors reading lines we could say in our sleep. She carried her phone into the bathroom, another tell. When she came back, she sat closer, even rested her head on my shoulder for a minute. Guilt or cover, I did not know. I did not move. I would play my part clean until I had what I needed. Days slid into weeks. Ray checked in on schedule. The man in the black Audi had a name. Adam Pierce, Manhattan real estate developer. 48 years old. 2 divorces. No children. Hotel logs and card activity. Do not ask how. Placed him with Lauren for at least 6 months. The mics and cameras at home caught her whispering to him more than once. Always when she thought I was out or asleep. I watched the clips like a lab tech. Cool. Curious. The woman on my screen sounded like a stranger. On a Tuesday in late October, I learned how far she was willing to go. I was working from home, which I almost never do. She had a client meeting and was not expected back until evening. Mid-afternoon, the front door opened. I checked the live feed. Lauren stepped inside, eyes moving like she did not want to be seen. I stayed in the home office with the door closed. Through the camera, I watched her go to our bedroom and into the bathroom. She opened the medicine cabinet, pulled a small prescription bottle from her purse, and tapped pills into her hand. Then she reached for my sleep tablets, the ones I use only when the nights get long. With slow, careful hands, she swapped several tablets and set everything back the way it was. Purse away. Door shut. A cold wave went through me. This was past betrayal. This was something darker. When she left, I went straight to the bathroom and checked the bottles. The replacements looked close to mine, but not exact. I pulled the suspect pills and sealed them in a small evidence bag Ray had given me. That evening I drove them to a pharmacist friend who owes me. He examined them and called an hour later. "Jake, these are prescription-strength benzodiazepines," he said, voice tight. "Much stronger than anything over the counter. Where did you get them?" "I am checking something for a client," I said. "What happens if someone takes these without knowing?" "They would be heavily sedated," he said. "Out for hours. No driving. No tasks that require attention. With alcohol, it could turn dangerous." He paused. "If someone is giving these to people without their knowledge, that is a serious crime." "I understand. Thank you." When I hung up, the picture snapped into place. Lauren was not only seeing another man. She was drugging me, or getting ready to. Keep me out cold on the late nights, or for something worse. The next day I met Ray and set the bag on the table. He studied the pills and let out a low breath. "Good God. This is not just an affair," he said. "This is planned harm." "I know," I said. My voice stayed even. My chest felt like thunder. "We move faster. I want everything you have, and I want to act before she tries anything else." "I will have a full report tomorrow," he said, lifting the bag. "With this, you could go to the police." "No police," I said. "No public circus. I will not make Sophie watch her mother in handcuffs, no matter what Lauren has done. I have another plan." "Your call," he said. "But be careful. She is not who you thought." That night, I pretended to take a sleep tablet. I palmed it and tossed it later. I lay in the guest room and kept my breathing slow and even. Near midnight, the door opened a crack. Lauren watched me for a few seconds. I did not move. The door eased shut. A minute later, the front door clicked. I went to the window. She walked to the corner where the black Audi waited. She bent to the driver's window and spoke to Adam. Then she pointed back toward our house. Both of them looked up. A chill ran through me. Were they talking about me? Lining something up together? The thought that he had been in my home, or might be, stoked an old, Hard anger I have not felt since overseas. I forced myself back to the plan. Ray's final packet landed the next day. It was complete and ugly. Photos, hotel invoices, phone records, word-for-word call transcripts taken from inside my house. The worst part was what he dug up on Adam Pierce. Real estate developer on paper. Something else under the surface. He had a pattern. He circled wealthy married women, moved in close, and somehow walked away richer when the marriage blew apart. 2 former girlfriends had husbands who did not live to see the settlement. One died in a car that left the road. One heart attack that never sat right on a clean bill of health. Ray's note said, "This man is bad news. Con artist at best. Timelines are too neat." Everything snapped into place. The pills, the bright talk about some faraway beach, and Lauren's sudden hands in our firm's accounts. This was not only an affair. It might be something that could get me killed. I spent the rest of the day locking down my side. First, I moved half of our liquid cash into new accounts with only my name on them. Not all of it. An empty sweep would blare like a siren. Enough to keep me and Sophie safe. Then I changed my will. I removed Lauren as a beneficiary and left everything to my daughter. I copied every file and photo Ray had gathered and stashed sets in more than one secure place. Then I set the stage. I planned a family dinner for the next evening. On the surface, it was a small celebration for Sophie's strong midterms. I invited Richard and Diane, Lauren's parents, Paige and her husband, Mike, my sister Erin and her crew, and of course Sophie. Lauren liked it. "Should we book Louvre again?" she asked. Everyone loved it. "I am thinking closer to home," I said. "We will host. I will have it catered." She agreed without a second thought. Home felt safe to her. That worked for me. I spent the next day lining up details, food, drinks, chairs, and the short presentation I had built. By early evening, the brownstone was full. Sophie glowed, proud of her grades and a new research project. Lauren floated from person to person, topping off coffee and smiling like she was born to host. I watched her across the room and wondered how long this stranger had been living under my roof wearing my wife's face. After dinner, we moved to the living room with coffee and dessert. I stood and lifted my glass. "I would like to make a toast," I said. "Not only to Sophie's hard work, which makes us proud, but to family." I looked each person in the eye. Family means trust. It means covering each other's blind spots. It means honesty. Lauren's smile thinned. I set my glass down and picked up a small remote. "I put together a short piece about honesty in relationships," I said. "Please look at the television." Before she could react, I pressed play. The large screen lit with the first slide. Lauren and Adam Pierce walking into a hotel, date and time stamped in the corner. The color drained from her face. I moved through the deck one beat at a time. More photos, receipts, call transcripts pulled from inside our home. The room went quiet in a way I felt in my chest. Sophie covered her mouth with her hand. Richard and Diane stared like the floor had shifted under them. Paige looked from me to her sister, and I saw the truth click into place behind her eyes. "Jake," Lauren got out, standing on unsteady legs. "This is not. You do not understand." "I understand," I said, calm. I clicked again. A close shot of the pill she tried to slide into my sleep bottle. "I understand this has been going on for months. I understand your boyfriend has a type, married women with money, and that their husbands sometimes end up gone." There were gasps. Diane let out a small cry. "That is ridiculous," Lauren said, panic edging her voice. "You are jealous. You are inventing things." "Am I?" I went to the final slide. A simple lab report. "These are strong sedatives, Lauren. The same class of medication found in the blood of Adam's former girlfriend's husband before his car left the road. Tell me, was the talk about Bali for rest and sun, or for something that works better far from home?" "This is insane," she hissed, eyes searching the room for an ally. "He is controlling and jealous. He twists everything." "Lauren," Richard's voice cut through the room, low and worn. "Is this true? Have you?" He could not finish. He lifted his hands toward the screen and let them fall. "No, Dad," she said. "Jake is twisting it." "Stop it, Mom," Sophie said. Her voice came out quiet and steady, tears on her cheeks anyway. "Just stop. We can all see what is on the screen." She turned to me. "Dad, did you know all along?" "I suspected for months," I said. "I confirmed it recently. I am sorry you had to see this, kiddo. But everyone needed to know." Lauren looked around and found only shock. Something hardened in her eyes. Fine, she said, suddenly cold. Yes, I have been seeing Adam, because Jake stopped seeing me years ago. He buried himself in work and shut me out. So you decided to drug him, and maybe worse? Paige said, disbelief sharp in her voice. Listen to yourself, Lauren. You do not understand, Lauren said, talking to the room more than to me. 20 years of being the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect partner. Always in Jake's shadow. Adam values me. Enough, I said, keeping my voice level. This is not about an affair. This is about what you planned. I reached into my jacket and set an envelope on the coffee table. These are divorce papers, I said. They are already filed. Terms follow our prenuptial agreement, half of our assets. You will have no role in the company. I am requesting full custody of Sophie, though she is old enough to choose. Lauren stared at the envelope and then at me, rage and shock fighting in her face. You think you have one, she said low. You think you know everything? You have no idea what I can do. I know enough, I said. That is why I took precautions. I nodded to the corners of the room. Tonight is recorded. If anything happens to me, anything at all, this file and those pills, with the lab report, go straight to the police. The color drained from her skin. Trapped. Dangerous. Sophie stepped between us. Mom, I think you should go. Lauren looked at our daughter like she did not recognize her. Sophie, sweetheart, you do not understand. I understand enough, Sophie said, voice shaking but steady. Please, just go. Lauren's eyes moved around the room, searching for an ally. Even her parents would not meet her gaze. At last she grabbed her purse. This is not over, Jake, she said, her voice shaking with anger. You will regret this. No, Lauren, I said, steady. My only regret is not seeing you clearly years ago. She slammed the door. The silence after rang in my ears. Sophie folded into me and cried. I held her while the others moved around, unsure what to say after watching a family split in one evening. I am sorry, Richard said at last, voice heavy. We had no idea. None of us did, I said. She hit it well. People left with small, awkward goodbyes. Sophie chose to sleep at the house instead of going back to campus. When the upstairs finally went quiet, I sat alone in the kitchen with a glass of whiskey. The house felt different, emptier, but cleaner, like a wound finally opened and drained. My phone rang. Is it done? Ray asked. It is done, I said. She knows it is over. Be careful for a few days, he warned. Exposure like that makes people desperate. I have taken precautions. Good. And Jake, he paused. I know it hurts. You did what you had to do. After we hung up, I sat in the stillness and felt 20 years shift. There was pain. There was also relief. The truth, ugly as it was finally out. The next days blurred. Meetings with attorneys, changing locks, walking Sophie through waves of anger at her mother and grief for the picture she thought we were. Lauren did not reach out to us directly. Everything came from her lawyer. A week after the showdown, Ray called with an update. Adam Pierce skipped town, he said. Cleaned out his accounts and headed west. Word says California. He abandoned her, I said. The satisfaction was bitter but real. The plan failed. She is no use to him. There is more, Ray said. Lauren tried to get into your joint accounts yesterday. All of them. She ran into locks. I said. Did she try the offshore accounts too? Yes. She is running out of options, Jake. That evening, while I was in the home office, my phone lit with Lauren's name. I let it ring once more and answered. Hello, Lauren. You ruined everything, she said without a greeting. Her words were thick with alcohol. Are you happy now? This is not about happiness, I said. It is about consequences. Consequences? She gave a short, bitter laugh. You took everything. My home, my family, my money. Our home, our family, our money, I said. And you were ready to take all of it from me, maybe even my life. The difference is, I have stayed inside the law. Adam is gone, she whispered after a beat. He left. He will not answer my calls. I am not surprised. Men like that do not stay when the ground gets rough. I loved him, she said. I really did. Did you ever love me, Lauren? Or was I just a means to an end? Silence stretched so long I thought the line had died. Finally, she said, I did. Once. A long time ago. What changed? Another long pause. You became predictable. Safe. I needed more. So you went looking for more, with a man who might have been planning to kill me. I did not know about those other women, she said, weak. I did not know what he wanted. But you knew about the pills, I said. You knew exactly what you were doing. She did not deny it. I wanted you out of the way so I could think. Plan my exit. With half our assets and company shares, I said. She did not answer. I ended the call and set the phone down. The house was quiet again. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. It would have been cleaner than this, Lauren snapped, the hard edge back in her voice. Now look at us. You won, Jake. You have everything, and I have nothing. Not nothing, I said. You will receive exactly what the law allows. No more. No less. Silence. Then, you think you are better than me. Moral. Righteous. Her voice dropped to a hiss. But you are empty inside, Jake. You always were. Without me, you are nothing. Goodbye, Lauren, I said, keeping my tone flat. Do not call again unless it is through your attorney. I ended the call. Her last words hung for a moment and then fell away. I looked around the office at the pieces of the life we built and broke. Was she right? Was there nothing left in me? No. I had Sophie. I had my name and the truth. That is enough to build on. 3 months passed. The divorce crawled forward, slower than I wanted, but steady. Sophie returned to her routine at school after the first shock, though she still would not speak to her mother. Lauren moved into a small Manhattan apartment and lived on an advance her attorney negotiated against the final split. I poured myself into work and into the plain order of a single life. The firm kept growing. My days found a rhythm. Not joy, exactly, but solid ground. On a clear Saturday morning, Sophie came over. She had been finding her balance again, moving through the wreckage with a quiet strength I admired. We decided to spend the day together, just us. Let us look at old photos, she said after a late breakfast. I need a few for a project about family stories. I pulled a stack of albums from the shelf. We sat shoulder to shoulder on the couch and turned pages. Sophie as a toddler at the beach. Christmas mornings. Me and Lauren in the early days. Young and, at least on the surface, in love. You both look happy here, Sophie said, pointing to a ski trip photo when she was about 8. We were, I said. At least I was. Do you ever wonder if Mom was always like that, she asked, or if something changed her? I thought before I answered. I do not think people flip into someone new. They show different parts of themselves over time. Sophie nodded. I keep trying to understand it. Not to excuse it, just to make sense of it. That is more grace than she earned, I said, without anger. But it says a lot about your heart. We kept turning pages. We found things to laugh about. We told old stories. It felt good to remember our home once held real joy, even if it did not last. I opened my laptop to check email while Sophie stayed with the albums. A local news alert slid onto the screen at the same moment Sophie gasped. The headline read, "Woman jumps from Hudson River Bridge, body recovered." I read fast. A woman in her mid-40s had stood alone for a long time the previous evening. A witness saw a wine glass in her hand and said she lifted it once or twice like a toast, then climbed the railing and jumped. Police recovered the body downstream early that morning. No name released, but the description fit Lauren, blonde, expensive black dress. Dad, do you think? Sophie's voice shook. Let us not assume, I said, closing the laptop softly. It could be anyone. We both knew the details were too exact to be random. The phone rang. It was Paige. Jake, she said, voice thick with tears. The police called my parents. It is Lauren. She jumped last night. Even half expecting it, hearing it said out loud hit hard. Not because I still loved her, but because she was Sophie's mother and had once been my wife. I am sorry, Paige. Sophie is with me. We just saw the news. They need someone to identify her, Paige said. Dad cannot do it. Could you? I will go, I said. Stay with your parents. I will handle it. I turned to Sophie. She sat very still, the color gone from her face. Was that about Mom? She asked, already knowing. Yes, I said. I have to go to the station to confirm. I want to come, she said. You do not have to, kiddo. This is not. She was my mother, Sophie said, steady even as tears rose. I need to be there. I wanted to shield her from one more hurt, but I knew the look in her eyes. I had worn it when I chose to face what Lauren had done. I nodded, and we left together. The process at the station was brief and awful. Sophie insisted on going into the room with me. The detective was kind. He said they found personal effects at the scene, a purse with identification and, most telling, a crystal wine glass that matched the anniversary set from Louvain. She took it that night, Sophie whispered. I remember her slipping something into her purse when she thought no one was watching. The body was covered, only the face visible. Lauren looked peaceful in a way I had not seen in years. I confirmed her identity. Sophie stood straight beside me and squeezed my hand until my fingers ached. In the car, Sophie finally broke. I was so angry, she said. The last thing I told her was to leave. This is not your fault, I said, easing to the curb so I could hold her. Your mother chose every step, the affair, the pills, and this last act. None of that belongs to you. If I had just talked to her, maybe. Listen to me, I said. What she did was hers alone. It was a selfish choice that hands the pain to the people who have to keep living. You could not have stopped it. We stayed like that a long time, the engine ticking, my daughter crying into my shoulder while I tried to put words around something that does not have answers. That night, after Sophie fell asleep in her old room, I sat in the quiet living room. The twin of that crystal wine glass sat on the table. I brought the whole set home after the anniversary dinner. I poured 2 fingers of whiskey and tried to understand the final shape of things. Lauren was gone. The woman I married, raised a child with, and later learned I never truly knew, chose an ending rather than face what she had done. Did she love Adam so much that losing him broke her? Or was it the loss of image, status, and money she could not stand? I would never know. Strangely, I did not need to anymore. The next day, Sophie and I walked through Central Park. The trees were at their peak, reds and golds against a sharp blue sky. What happens now? She asked as we sat on a bench by the lake. We keep going, I said, day by day. Does it make me a bad person that I am still angry at her? She asked. No. It makes you human, I said. Anger, grief, and confusion can live in the same room. There is no correct way to feel. She looked over the water. I found some photos to frame for my dorm. Happy ones from when I was little. That sounds right. Not to pretend it was perfect, she said. Just to remember the parts that were good. That should count for something. It does, I said, putting an arm around her. The good was real, even if it did not last. We walked home in the late light. Sophie went upstairs to gather pictures. I opened my laptop to clear a few emails. A new alert popped up with an update. I read the short piece. Witnesses had watched a woman stand by the river for almost an hour. She lifted a wine glass now and then like a toast, then climbed the rail and went over. The article said she was recently divorced. Ours was not final and in financial trouble. I closed the page and went back to work. Sophie came down with a small box of photos. I found Mom's old ballet shoes, she said, holding up the worn satin point shoes. I think I want to keep these. Of course, I said. Whatever you want is yours. We ordered Chinese food and put on old movies we used to watch together. Not to act like nothing had happened. To do what Sophie said. To let the good parts stand, too. The next morning, as she packed to head back to campus, she hugged me hard. We are going to be okay, right, Dad? We are, I said, and I meant it. Different, but okay. After she left, the house went still. A steady peace settled in. Lauren's last decision was as selfish as her betrayal. It left the rest of us to carry the weight. But it also closed a door that might have hung open for years.